Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a video I know many of you have been asking for today. We're going to give you our JasmyCoin price prediction, and it is absolutely one not to miss. We're going to show you how we arrive at this price prediction and give really a likelihood of how likely we think this is to take place. And we're going to be looking at lots of other examples of charts that we predicted higher prices for in the same manner that we're going to be predicting a higher price for Jasmy today, that actually went on and made those targets, or certainly got very near them. We're going to be focusing on an inverse head and shoulders pattern that is likely going to see Jasmy run towards 70 cents. Now, a little bit of a backdrop in regards to what the Jasmy project actually is all about. It is a blockchain project that's very focused in Japan. It is, of course, or was founded by former Sony execs. I'm not going to attempt to read their names, but there's 4 individuals who were former Sony executives that actually went on to found this project. It is a project largely focusing on IoT, so the Internet of Things. Right now, we're looking to enable the Internet of Value with these blockchains. But actually, further from that, what this technology can enable is a Internet of Things also, where machines interact with one another and generate a hell of a lot of data, just like the Internet of Information, the Internet Web 2 we're currently on, generates a hell of a lot of information that is, of course, leveraged and very valuable and used by and controlled actually largely by some of the largest institutions in the world. I know back in March 2024, Jasmy collaborated with Panasonic, big company, to develop a Web 3 based Internet of Things platform. There's a number of other things, personal data lockers, talking more technically about how the Jasmy project actually works. We're not going to get into that, but it is certainly an interesting project. It's a project that I actually need to do far more of a fundamental dive on. So if you guys have any suggestions in regards to where to go and look fundamentally at the project in more detail, please do let me know. So let's start things off with a nice clean Jasmy chart. We like to break the markets down into 4 phases. Those of you that watch me regularly will know this. And the first phase of a market is ultimately what Wyckoff would have called accumulation. And that is Jasmy down here. This is your sort of base, your bottom of a market, if you will. And then after phase 1, you get phase 2, which is an uptrend, a markup, a bull market phase, which Jasmy is well and truly in, having broken out of its phase 1 base, its accumulative phase. It did that very strongly on volume. Just to throw these lines on the charts, you can see this is its base highlighted in this kind of range. You can see the actual range target was met, and the breaking of this range, initiating it into phase 2, which is an uptrend, took place on a hell of a lot of volume, showing that there was conviction behind the initiation. And since then, whilst the space has largely been pulling back since March or May, when Bitcoin went on its pullback, Jasmy has largely been consolidating in and around the range target, which you can, of course, see here. Now, the pattern that we're identifying, so we know that Jasmy is now in an uptrend. It's now in phase 2, which you'd expect higher prices to come on the back end of. It's your uptrending phase of a market. Now that we've established that, we can actually start to look for technical targets and patterns. And I do believe you've got a number of them present, giving you confluence to the direction that Jasmy is likely going to go in. The one that we're going to be focusing on today, we're going to get rid of this inverse head and shoulders, and often markets will go up and down in a kind of nestling head and shoulder format, is this head and shoulders here, where you can see this left shoulder. This is, of course, your left shoulder's armpit, which we're highlighting. You've got this big head that, of course, incorporates the phase 1 base. Then you came up and you made this right armpit. And this, of course, is your nice rounded right shoulder. So if we look at this from an inverted point of view, often when people look at head and shoulders, they like to look at them sort of the right way up, not inverted. So we flip the chart on its head, meaning when the price goes down, it's actually up. And this, of course, is the head and shoulders that we're highlighting for you on Jasmy. Now, if this is to take place, and I believe it's been initiated on this volume here, which I'll just move so that my head isn't in the way, the actual breaking of this neckline is a key level of significance, a key event that is ultimately likely going to see Jasmy come to the price prediction of 71 cents. Now, we were looking at this and have been looking at this certainly as a Patreon down in this region here, which would have given you a return of 33x, so 3,300%. Today, where it's currently at, remember this is an inverted chart, that's likely going to see you return something like a 14x. And actually, this doesn't mean that it's going to stop there. It's just what we now have a technical pattern for, also having identified that this is very much in a phase 2, which is an uptrending phase of a market. This is a pattern that we've had huge success for. We were also looking, and it's worth noting, at a falling wedge. Jasmy was one of the tokens that we mentioned was in a falling wedge pattern. And it was all happening whilst the formation of this right shoulder was taking place, and you've had kind of a confirmation of it since. So this might be going over some people's heads that aren't familiar with technical analysis. We are a traditional technical analyst. We aren't one of these people that promote these BS indicators and silver bullets. We don't think they exist when it comes to technical analysis. What we do know is there are specific patterns like the one we're highlighting for you today on Jasmy that have a high probability, 7, 8, 9 times out of 10, of playing out and seeing price come to fruition. Let's talk about some of those. And NVIDIA was one that we looked at. Of course, this is the inverse head and shoulders that I am looking at. Very much, if we go back to the replay, similar to what we're forecasting for Jasmy today. Just to show those charts side by side. This is Jasmy, inverse head and shoulders. This was NVIDIA. And we all, of course, know the story of NVIDIA. One of the greatest stocks in the stock market. One of the largest stocks in the world, actually. I do believe it's going to make that sort of target that we have for it that we don't have drawn on here in regards to the pattern. But this inverse head and shoulders is what we're focusing on. And you can see that projected a target up here. This, of course, was met. And this took NVIDIA into new all-time highs, just like we're suggesting Jasmy is about to embark on. So NVIDIA is a great example. Also, we've got the likes of Vanek Semiconductors. You can see this was its inverse head and shoulders back here. Right shoulder, head, puny little left shoulder. Right shoulder, sorry. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, puny little right shoulder. Target projection taking its new all-time highs, and that was indeed met. We believe the same thing is coming today for Jasmy, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we've got the SPY. Those of you that watch me religiously will know this is a chart that we got very right. It was one of the deciding factors that we looked at how the overall markets were looking to get back into the markets at the start of 2023, which was the perfect bottom for certainly Bitcoin. Some of the altcoins dillied and davered, but it just gave us more time to accumulate. Ultimately, this inverse head and shoulders that we've got here, so not this smaller one in your phase 1 base, but this one, projected a target, which is right about where you are today. And we think the same thing is coming for Jasmy. We've got the DAX here. It's inverse head and shoulders lower down, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, projection, target met. This became a key level that it coiled up in and around. Ultimately took the DAX, which is the German Stock Exchange Index, into new all-time highs. Jasmy, very much on a similar trajectory. Amazon was one of our stocks, and we're about to be right on this price prediction we gave, around about $120. So we were suggesting we're going to double and then some. Got laughed at largely, but we're very much close to that target. You can see you've got this real right shoulder, head, left shoulder, and ultimately that's giving you a prediction that's not far off being made. And we think the same thing, the same trajectory, Jasmy is essentially on course for. So whether it wants to sort of pull back before seeing that continuation, still to be seen. But you're ultimately, having taken this key level of significance, this neckline, you're on that broader trajectory to the sort of 71 cents range, in my opinion. Then, of course, we've got Bitcoin. This inverse head and shoulder takes you 151K, very much marching towards there. So this is the one we're highlighting. We did have one lower down. Markets will often nestle to both the up and the downside in this kind of a head and shoulders pattern. So this is essentially what we think is to come for Jasmy. We've established that it's already in an uptrend, and it's very much adhering to sort of phase 2 principles. Ultimately, now you've got a target that we've been able to generate, taking you to 71 cents, which I believe is going to be pretty good news considering the Jasmy price is currently at 4 cents. To be totally honest and transparent, the Jasmy coin is not one that I own because I own 20-something cryptocurrencies. I can't own them all, but it is one that I think is going to do very well, which also aligns with our broader view of the cryptocurrency markets and the direction that they're heading in, that we've looked at through the lenses of the likes of the total cryptocurrency market cap. Again, this very much heading towards one of the targets that we have for it at 4.2 trillion. Total 2, which is everything excluding Bitcoin. We've got technical targets to the upside of. Total 3, that's made our sort of short-term bull flag target. And of course others, which is everything outside the top 10, which Jasmy is very applicable to. And we think this is running to the $2 trillion mark. So there's lots of room for altcoins to grow within that. And I think Jasmy is definitely going to be one of them. certainly we now have a technical target that gives us that confirmation on Jasmy. So that's our price prediction, guys. Whether that's the ultimate bull market price prediction or not is still to be seen, but I think you're looking at 71 cents Jasmy price in the future. Remember, this is not financial advice, all just my own opinion. Do with it what you will, but don't trade or buy anything based on what I've said. Always do your own research and analysis. And if you can see merit in what I'm saying, do let us know in the comment section. If you can't and you've got an alternative price prediction, also let us know. And let us know what you think about the Jasmy coin fundamentally. Something we need to do a lot more looking into. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.